Welcome to episode 401 of AI Brief. I'm Amin.
And I'm Leah.
Today, we're looking at a landscape that is, well, it's shifting right under our feet. We've got a huge collection of updates that really cover the whole spectrum.
The whole ecosystem.
Exactly. From the software you use every single minute of the day, all the way down to the fundamental biology that, makes up your body.
It is a heavy lineup. We're going to kick things off with Google's big, aggressive move to overhaul the Chrome browser. They're adding what they call agentic capabilities.
Right. And then we're going to pivot from there into some hard science. We'll break down DeepMind's new AlphaGenome release,
Which is basically a map for the dark matter of our own DNA. It's fascinating.
We also have to follow the money. There are two new labs raising just astronomical sums of money to bet against the current scaling laws. They're trying to find a different path.
A contrarian path, yeah. And of course, we'll slow it down a bit later to cover the rest of the major headlines and then get to the trending tools you should know about.
There is a lot to get through, so let's start with the tool that everyone listening is probably using right this second.
Google Chrome.
Exactly. If you look at the browser market over the last year, you see this surge of so-called AI-first competitors. You've got OpenAI's Atlas, Perplexity's Comet, Dia.
And they all pitched this vision where the browser does the work for you. But, I mean, if you actually look at the adoption numbers,
The needle just hasn't moved.
not really. The reality is that switching browsers is a huge pain. You have your passwords, your history, all your extensions.
And Google knows that. They know that inertia is their biggest competitive advantage. So instead of making people migrate to something new, they're just building that agentic future right into the platform everyone already has.
This is way beyond just another chatbot in a sidebar. Google announced this whole suite of upgrades that really changes how Chrome even interacts with the web.
And the headline feature is something they're calling Auto Browse.
Right. And auto browse is that shift from, passive surfing to active delegation. In the old model, you find a site, you click the buttons, you fill out the form.
Just do all the work.
Exactly. With auto browse, Chrome just takes over the tab. You give it a goal, and it navigates the menus, clicks the links, and gets the task done.
That is the very definition of agentic. But, the immediate question that pops into my head is about control. If I tell my browser to book a flight, I don't want it just finalizing the payment without me.
And that's the crucial design piece here. The system has these very specific safety rails built in. It's designed to be autonomous, but only up to a point.
So it knows when to stop.
Yes. When it hits a sensitive action like a payment or an authentication screen, it pauses. It hands control right back to you. It's not going to drain your bank account while you're in the other room.
Okay, that's good to hear. And besides the clicking, they're also rethinking how we get information with the Gemini sidebar. We've seen sidebars before, but they're calling this one persistent.
The persistence is key, but the real power is the context window. This isn't just a search bar you're talking to.
It can see your other tabs.
It can see across your tabs. So let's say you're shopping. You've got Amazon open in one tab, maybe a review site in another, and a competitor store in a third. You can actually ask the sidebar to compare the products across those three specific tabs.
And that cross-tab context is something a standalone chatbot just can't do because it doesn't see the state of your browser.
And Google is really leveraging their ecosystem lock-in here. This sidebar connects directly to your personal data, your Gmail, Calendar, Drive.
So they're rolling out that personal intelligence feature.
Exactly. So if you're looking at a concert booking page, the browser can just check your calendar instantly and tell you if you're free without you ever having to leave that page.
That level of integration is going to be almost impossible for a startup to replicate. They just don't have that data.
And for creators, they have a feature with a pretty unique name.
Nano Banana.
A memorable name for sure, but it's a practical utility. It's an in-browser image generation engine.
So the logic is, if you're building a presentation or a doc in Chrome, you shouldn't have to jump out to Mid-Journey to get an image.
You just generate it right there, in the flow of your work. The whole strategy is clear. Don't make the user go find the AI, bring the AI directly into the workflow. It's a defensive move, but a really powerful one.
It basically creates a moat. Even if a competitor has a slightly better model, the sheer convenience of having these agents baked into the default browser.
It's going to win the mass market.
Let's pivot from digital agents to biological discovery. We need to talk about Google DeepMind and their new release, AlphaGenome,
Right. We've talked about AlphaFold before, the model that solved protein folding and won a Nobel Prize.
which was a huge moment for biology.
Uh,
But AlphaFold was all about proteins, which are sort of the end result of the instructions in our DNA.
and now DeepMind has published a paper in Nature for AlphaGenome, which looks at the instructions themselves.
To really get why this is such a big deal, we need a quick biology refresher. We've got this huge string of DNA, but only a tiny bit of it actually codes for proteins.
That's the part that always blows my mind. Only about 2% of your DNA actually codes for proteins. For decades, scientists called the other 98% junk DNA or dark matter.
They knew it wasn't actually junk, right?
Yeah, they knew it was important. It regulates genes, it controls timing, but they didn't have a map for it. AlphaGenome is that map.
So the model scans the genetic code and tries to predict how mutations cause disease. But it's doing this at a scale that is it's not humanly possible.
The scale is the whole game. AlphaGenome scans a context window of 1 million letters of genetic code at a time. It's looking at the relationships between them. It can predict how a single typo, just one letter changing, can affect 11 different biological processes.
There was that incredible example in the research about leukemia. I think it perfectly illustrates why that massive context window matters so much.
Yeah, that was amazing. In their tests, AlphaGenome flagged these mutations that were linked to leukemia. But the mutations weren't even inside the gene that causes the cancer.
They were thousands of letters away.
Thousands of letters away in the sequence. It's like finding a spelling error in a book that causes a problem in a different book 3 shelves over.
Because the DNA is folded up in 3D space.
Exactly. It folds and loops, bringing these distant parts close together. AlphaGenome can see those connections. It is basically uncovering the regulatory wiring of the human genome.
And just like they did with AlphaFold, they're releasing the model weights.
They are. It's open access. They're giving the entire global scientific community the tools to go explore that 98%. This is going to accelerate discovery for diseases that have just baffled researchers for years.
It's amazing. AI is a microscope for complexity. But building these huge models takes huge capital, which brings us to the startup landscape. We're seeing this new trend emerge, the contrarian labs.
This is a really fascinating shift. For the past few years, the dominant strategy has been scale is all you need. Just more data, more compute, bigger models.
But now investors are pouring money into labs that are betting that scaling might hit a wall, or that there's just a more efficient way to build intelligence.
The first one has a name that sounds like a mobile game.
Flapping airplanes.
It definitely sticks with you. But the valuation is no joke. They've raised about $180 million at a $1.5 billion valuation.
And it's backed by Sequoia, with advisors like Andres Karpathy and Jeff Dean. So what is the contrarian bet they're making?
Their whole thesis is efficiency. They want to train an AI to match human intelligence without having to ingest the entire internet.
Right. Humans don't need to read every book ever written to learn how to reason.
Flapping airplanes is trying to replicate that learning efficiency. They want to get to high performance with just a fraction of the data.
Which is critical, because we are literally running out of high-quality data to train on. If they can crack that, it changes the entire economics of AI.
And then you have another one, core automation, led by Jerry Tor.
An ex-OpenAI researcher, he's looking for up to $1 billion for this new venture.
And his focus is a model called Series. His contrarian bet is all about embodiment.
This is the idea that an AI needs to actually experience the world to understand it, right? Not just read about it.
Precisely. Current models are disembodied brains in a jar. They read text, but they have no physical context. Torque wants to build systems that learn continuously from real-world experience.
The ambitions they list are
To put it mildly, the roadmap literally starts with automating factories and it ends with terraforming planets.
So it's a high-risk, high-reward game. These labs are betting against the $200 billion frontier models.
But if they find a shortcut that the giants missed, the payoff would be incalculable. It just goes to show you that science is not settled. We still don't really know the best path to AGI.
Now, let's shift gears. There's a lot of other news circulating today. I want to slow down a bit and walk through the rest of the updates because some of the numbers involved are just staggering.
We have to start with the funding wars. The valuations are entering a whole new stratosphere. Reports indicate that SoftBank is in talks to invest up to $30 billion in OpenAI.
$30 billion. And let's be clear, that isn't the valuation. That's the size of the investment check.
And that check is part of a round that would value OpenAI at roughly $830 billion.
Yeah.
We are talking about a startup approaching the market cap of companies that have dominated the economy for decades.
And Anthropic is also capitalizing on this environment.
They just closed an oversubscribed $10 billion round. And if Microsoft and NVIDIA participate, that could double to $20 billion. But the number that really matters to me isn't even the funding, it's the revenue. Anthropic updated their forecast to hit $18 billion in revenue this year.
$18 billion. That validates the demand. Critics call this a bubble, but that kind of revenue suggests enterprise adoption is happening at a massive scale.
And speaking of adoption, we saw a seed round for a company called Twin. They raised $10 million, but their metric is what's interesting. They claim to have already deployed nearly 150,000 agents.
And Twin is that AI company builder for
Yeah.
non-technical folks, right?
Correct. They're letting professionals who can't code build their own custom software solutions. So these agents are doing the grunt work, processing invoices, managing logistics. It's the practical application of what we were just talking about with Google.
On the more technical side, Google pushed an update to Gemini 3 Flash.
This is the Agentic Vision update. It lets the model do more than just describe an image. It can now zoom into it, annotate it, and even edit it. They're reporting a 5 to 10% accuracy boost on visual tasks, moving from passive vision to active interaction.
We also saw an update from the French lab, Mistral.
Mistral Vibe 2.0. That's their coding agent. The new update introduces custom subagents and workflow skills. It's built for developers, so the AI can handle more complex, multi-step programming tasks right in the terminal.
There was also a prediction that generated a lot of debate from Anthropic co-founder Jared Kaplan.
Kaplan stated that he believes there's a 50% chance that the world's top theoretical physicists will be mostly replaced by AI within just 3 years.
3 years. And theoretical physics is usually seen as the absolute pinnacle of abstract human reasoning.
It seems incredibly aggressive. But it ties back to our AlphaGenome discussion. If an AI can model complex systems better than a human brain can, at what point does it become the better physicist? It really challenges our assumptions about creativity and high-level thought.
And finally, a significant geopolitical update on the hardware front.
Yes. China has reportedly approved the purchase of over 400,000 NVIDIA H200 chips for companies like ByteDance, Alibaba, and Tencent. This is significant because of all the ongoing export controls.
It suggests that despite the tensions, the supply chain for high-end compute is still flowing.
It eases a major bottleneck for China's AI development. 400,000 H200s is a massive amount of compute power. It keeps those companies very competitive.
That covers the news landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's get into the toolbox. We have a list of trending AI tools making waves today.
First up is DeepSeek OCR 2. If you work with documents, this is a big one. OCR is optical character recognition, and this new model is exceptionally good at pulling text from messy documents, complex tables, just really weird formatting.
And for developers who prefer open source, there's SERA.
SERA comes from AI2. It's a whole family of open source coding agents. This is for teams that want to run coding assistants on their own servers instead of relying on a proprietary API.
For visual creators, you should be looking at Zimage.
This is from Alibaba's Tongyi Lab. It's the full version of their image model. It's open source, and the quality is right up there with the top closed models. A great option if you want to host your own image generation.
And if video is your medium, you should check out Winmov.
Winmov solves a very specific problem with AI video, which is control. Usually you type a prompt and just hope for the best. Winmov lets you specify the start frame and the end frame of a video, giving you real cinematic control over the transition.
Audio tools are also moving fast. Kikivoice is trending.
This tool claims it can clone a voice with really high precision from just 3 minutes of audio. The quality is impressive, useful for content creators who need to fix a line of dialogue.
For anyone trying to organize their thoughts, there's Dessix.
Dessix is a visual workspace. Imagine a whiteboard that actually helps you brainstorm. You put your notes and ideas down, and the AI helps you capture, organize, and structure all that content.
And finally, for the social media managers out there, TheTabber.
This is a pure productivity tool. It's a content repurposing tool. You give it one piece of content, and it formats it for posting across more than 9 different social platforms all at once.
From the browser wars to the secrets of our DNA and the tools to build the future, the pace of innovation is just relentless.
It really is. We're seeing this convergence of science, capital, and software in a way that is reshaping just about everything.
Make sure to follow the show so you don't miss the next brief. If you found this useful, share it with someone who needs to stay ahead of the curve.
See you in the next episode.